The music drifts through the grand halls of Downton Abbey, soft, elegant, and filled with memories. The laughter has faded, the candlelight has dimmed, but something new is beginning to stir. A new rhythm, a new age. The world outside is changing faster than the Crawleys could ever imagine. The Great War is behind them, and now, the glamour of the 1930s is calling. An era of wit, charm, and bold reinvention. This is the Age of Noel Coward, where elegance meets rebellion, and every whispered word carries the sound of goodbye. The screen fades in to the sound of a gramophone crackling to life. The faint notes of a lively 1930s orchestra play in the background as the camera glides through the empty drawing room of Downton Abbey. The sunlight falls softly across polished silver and crystal, catching on the edges of framed photographs, reminders of the years that have passed. A voice speaks calmly, almost like a thought from the walls themselves. For years, Downton stood untouched, a symbol of grace, of order, of England itself. But time, as always, is an impatient guest. The visuals shift, cars racing down London streets, flashing theater signs, and elegant women stepping out in satin gowns. The 1930s has arrived with a rush of style and laughter, leaving the old world breathless in its wake. Yet behind the glamour, there's unease. The traditions that once ruled every corner of the Abbey now seem fragile, even foolish, against the sharp wit and charm of a new generation. The world was no longer a place for quiet dinners and whispered secrets. It was a stage, and everyone wanted to play their part. As the orchestra swells, we see Lady Mary standing by the window, her reflection faintly overlaid with the London skyline. A newspaper headline flashes, "The Age of Noel Coward." His plays fill the theaters. His words dance on everyone's lips. Clever, daring, and delightfully modern. He represents everything the Crawleys both admire and fear: change, freedom. The idea that life can be lived not for duty, but for desire. The voice continues, rich and thoughtful. For the Crawleys, this was not just another season. It was a test of love, of loyalty, of who they would become when the world no longer waited for them to decide. We see Edith typing at her desk, the clack of her typewriter merging with the orchestra. Tom walks briskly through the gardens, his eyes full of determination. Even the servants, once bound by tradition, now whisper of futures beyond the Abbey gates. The air hums with possibility. The music fades, replaced by the faint ticking of a clock. The camera lingers on the grand staircase, bathed in golden morning light. The same halls that once echoed with formality now feel like a stage waiting for its final act. Every story must end, but sometimes the end is only the beginning of something more daring, something entirely new. The gramophone crackles again. The record spins, and with a slow zoom on the Downton crest, the title appears in gold. The Age of Noel Coward. A thin mist rolls over the English countryside, soft as lace. The camera sweeps across the Downton grounds, the great house rising like a memory against the pale morning sky. But something in the air feels different. The horses are quieter, the maids move faster, and for the first time in years, the great doors of Downton Abbey open not just for guests, but for change itself. It began with whispers, the voice says, a new kind of music on the radio, a daring dress at dinner, a bold opinion spoken where silence once ruled. The 1930s hum with energy, jazz spilling from gramophones, telephones ringing with new gossip, and London glowing brighter than ever before. The world outside no longer bends to the rules of old estates and titled names. It spins to a faster rhythm, one that even Downton cannot escape. Cut to Lady Mary in the library, reading a newspaper. Her eyes catch a headline about the roaring theater scene in London. Noel Coward's new play opens to thunderous applause. A faint smile touches her lips. Admiration, or maybe envy. She understands that his world, a world of charm, wit, and unapologetic ambition, is one that the Crawleys will have to face, whether they're ready or not. Downstairs, the servants talk in hushed excitement. Daisy dreams of seeing a play in London. Mr. Carson frowns, clinging to order as if manners themselves are under attack. The younger staff, however, are restless. They want more than their parents ever dared to imagine. A voice, a choice, a chance. The old order was not falling, the voice explains softly. It was fading, like the final note of a song too beautiful to last. Montage of life inside Downton. The dining table gleaming, the family gathered, yet there's an invisible distance between them. Modernity creeps in, not as a storm but as a quiet wind through open windows. Radios replace pianists, automobiles replace carriages, and conversations once held in private now find their way into public view. Cut to Edith, standing in her publishing office, the hum of printing presses behind her. Her pen glides across the page as she writes about women who defy expectations. Her voice is calm but determined, a reflection of a changing world. For Edith, progress was not rebellion, it was survival. Meanwhile, in London, laughter rings through the theaters. Audiences enchanted by the razor-sharp words of Noel Coward. His plays, filled with irony and elegance, mirror the very battle the Crawleys face. Appearance versus truth, decorum versus desire. The voice returns, quieter now, almost nostalgic. Once, Downton was the center of everything. Now, it is only one story in a world full of them. The camera drifts back to the Abbey, the windows glowing warm against the deepening dusk. Inside, time seems to pause, as though the walls themselves are listening. The gramophone plays again, but this time the melody feels lighter, freer. Change never asks for permission, the narrator concludes. It dances in, takes your hand, and before you know it, the music has changed. The final shot lingers on the Abbey silhouetted against the setting sun. A breeze stirs the flags, carrying laughter from far away. The echo of a world moving forward. Fade to black. End of section 2. The winds of change. The camera opens on London at twilight. Streets glowing under gas lamps, laughter spilling from grand theaters, and cigarette smoke curling through the night air like whispers of ambition. The year is 1931, and the city is alive. It hums with energy, style, and something entirely new. The confidence of reinvention. They called it the Age of Noel Coward, the voice begins softly. A time when elegance wore a grin, and truth hid behind clever words. Inside a theater, velvet curtains rise. A man on stage delivers a line so sharp, so perfectly timed, that the audience bursts into laughter. His name, Noel Coward, the playwright, the wit, the symbol of modern England. His world is not of country estates or grand titles, but of bright lights, quick words, and endless possibility. As the applause echoes, the scene transitions to Downton Abbey. Quiet, still, dignified. The contrast is striking. The house stands like a photograph from another century. Proud, but slightly out of focus. Lady Mary watches from the balcony as a car disappears down the long drive, its headlights vanishing into fog. For those within Downton's walls, the narrator continues, Noel Coward's age was both a mirror and a warning. It showed them what they could be, and what they might lose if they dared. Cut to the family at dinner. Conversation flows, polite but careful. Lord Grantham speaks of duty and estate matters. The younger ones exchange glances of quiet rebellion. A new kind of spirit flickers beneath their formal tone, a hunger for something beyond the Abbey's walls. Lady Edith speaks of the theatre, of London's brilliance, her eyes alight with curiosity. The Dowager Countess, ever the keeper of the past, raises an eyebrow and replies with her sharp wit, I suppose if the world must fall apart, it might as well do so in style. The table erupts with soft laughter, but the comment lingers, half jest, half truth. As the narrator speaks, we see scenes of transformation. Mary trying on a more daring gown, light catching her silhouette. Tom reading modern newspapers, ideas flickering in his mind. Even the servants now smiling at gramophones playing jazz, daring to imagine nights filled with laughter instead of chores. Coward's voice traveled farther than the theater. It slipped through radios, crossed oceans, and found its way into the drawing rooms of even the most proper English homes. His world, a stage of laughter, longing, and freedom, invited everyone to join, if only they had the courage to dance. The music shifts, jazzy, playful, teasing. Quick cuts show London parties, clinking glasses, and young people twirling in dance halls. The colors are brighter, the smiles wider. Back at Downton, the same energy seems to echo faintly. A maid hums a new tune as she polishes silver. The younger footmen mimic Noel Coward's clipped accent, laughing quietly when Carson isn't looking. Change no longer waited outside, the narrator says. It had found its way inside, hidden in the laughter of servants and the dreams of daughters. Then, a quiet moment. Lady Mary alone at her dressing table, listening to Coward's voice on the radio. His words, charming, clever, and full of melancholy, fill the room. Nothing is more potent than charm, he says on the broadcast. It wins where power fails. Mary closes her eyes, the faintest smile on her lips. For the first time, she sees that charm, like change, can be a weapon, graceful, but unstoppable. As the camera pans upward through Downton's glowing windows, the narrator returns one last time for this chapter. The Age of Noel Coward was not simply an era. It was a mirror held to a nation. The rain comes without warning. It falls over Downton like a quiet confession, turning the gravel paths into mirrors. The great house glows faintly against the storm. Proud, unbending, yet trembling beneath the weight of time. Inside, the air feels heavier than usual. Every tick of the clock sounds like an argument between past and present. Change had finally knocked on the door, the narrator whispers. But Downton had never been a house that opened easily. Cut to the dining room, once filled with laughter, now divided by silence. The family sits together, but they are not united. Lady Mary speaks of new investments, modern ventures, and a world beyond Downton's borders. Lord Grantham's gaze hardens. To him, the Abbey is not just stone and history. It is identity, blood, and legacy. If we sell a piece of Downton, he says softly, we sell a piece of ourselves. Mary doesn't look away. Her voice is steady, but her eyes betray the ache of letting go. And if we don't, Father, we lose everything else. The camera cuts between faces. Tension, pride, fear. The room feels colder. The sound of thunder rolls outside, echoing the storm within. Downstairs, the mood is no different. Mr. Carson polishes silver as though it can hold the world together. The younger staff whisper about new jobs, new lives, cities where they might belong. Anna stands by the window watching the rain. She knows that even the smallest choices now feel enormous. Every decision a step away from the life they've always known. The Abbey had always survived on loyalty, the voice continues, but loyalty alone could no longer pay the cost of time. Cut to Edith, standing in her London office. The rain outside her window mirrors the one at Downton. She's found success in her writing, yet her heart still beats for the house she once called home. A letter from Mary lies unopened on her desk, a symbol of everything unspoken between them. Progress and memory side by side, refusing to blend. The music swells, sharp and orchestral. A montage begins, the staff moving through their routines, the family preparing for another dinner, everyone pretending that nothing is changing. But the cracks are showing. The Abbey itself seems to sigh with age. Its walls breathe history, but even history must make room for what's next. Every family faces a moment like this, the narrator says, when love and tradition can no longer live under the same roof. A moment of calm follows. The rain stops. The firelight flickers softly in the drawing room. Lady Violet, the Dowager Countess, sits alone, her eyes thoughtful. She smiles faintly, the kind of smile that hides both pain and wisdom. I was born into a world that no longer exists, she murmurs, but what a privilege it was to live in it. Her words float in the quiet like a prayer, a final bow to the past. As the camera drifts toward the window, the clouds begin to break. Sunlight filters through, touching the Abbey's stone walls. The storm is over. For now, tradition had fought bravely, the narrator concludes. But tomorrow always wins, not because it's stronger, but because it never stops coming. The music resolves into a soft, bittersweet melody, violins and piano. As the scene fades to black, a single line appears on screen. To move forward is not betrayal, it is survival. The night falls quietly over Downton Abbey. The rain has gone, but the air still glows with the scent of it. Clean, cold, and filled with ghosts. The camera drifts through the long hallways, now half lit by candlelight. The portraits of ancestors watch in silence, their painted eyes forever caught between pride and sorrow. There comes a moment, the narrator begins, when every story pauses, not to end, but to remember. We see Lady Mary sitting by the fire, a letter in her hand. The flames dance in her eyes as she reads it. Edith's handwriting, familiar yet distant. The sisters' words are full of things they never said aloud. Regret, love, forgiveness. In that moment, the rivalry that once divided them feels small against the weight of years gone by. Cut to Edith in London, looking out at the city lights. She holds the other half of that exchange. Mary's reply. Her voice, soft but steady, echoes through the scene. "We are not who we were, dear sister, but perhaps that's what makes us free." The words overlap, one in Downton, one in London, blending like a duet of past and future. The music swells with warmth. Downstairs, Mr. Carson slowly walks through the servants' hall. His steps are slower now. His hands tremble slightly as he traces the polished wood of the old table. Every corner tells a story. Laughter, secrets, quiet loyalty. He stops beside Mrs. Hughes, who gives him a gentle smile. No words are needed. They both know what time has taken, and what it has given. "The heart of Downton was never its walls," the voice says softly. "It was the people who kept them alive." Cut to Tom Branson in the courtyard, watching his daughter chase a butterfly across the lawn. Her laughter rings through the still air, bright, fearless, untouched by history. He smiles, realizing that she belongs to a world unshaped by duty, a world of her own making. Inside, the Dowager Countess sits in her chair by the window. The soft light outlines her face like porcelain. She looks toward the garden, the same view she's watched for decades. Her eyes glisten, but she smiles with quiet peace. "Every goodbye," she murmurs faintly, "is just a promise that we will meet again. Somewhere, somehow." A gentle wind moves through the curtains. The sound of the gramophone returns. An old song, one that played long before anyone living could remember. It carries us through the house, past faces and memories, weaving time together like silk. We see small, wordless scenes. Mrs. Patmore laughing as she teaches Daisy a recipe. Anna holding Bates's hand as they watch the sunset. The family gathered for one last photograph, laughter blending with tears. "Love," the narrator continues, "was the one thing Downton never lost. It lingered in the rooms, in the gardens, in every echo of the past. Love, steady, stubborn, and endlessly forgiving, outlived the grandeur." The camera glides up the grand staircase one last time. The chandeliers shimmer faintly. The music softens to a slow piano melody. Lady Mary closes her eyes and whispers, almost to herself, "Downton has changed, but so have we." And in that simple truth, everything finds peace. Letting go, the narrator concludes, is not the end of love. It is how love learns to last. The screen fades to a soft golden glow. The light of dawn returning. Outside, the birds begin to sing again. The camera pulls back slowly, showing Downton bathed in the morning sun. Timeless, beautiful, and eternal. Fade to black. A single line appears. The heart remembers, even when the world moves on. Morning light spills across the lawns like a blessing. Dew glitters on the roses, and the great house stands still, proud, patient, eternal. The camera glides slowly toward the front doors, where the sound of quiet footsteps begins to echo. One by one, the people of Downton appear, not as they were, but as they've become. Every story, the narrator begins, deserves a curtain call. not to remind us that it's over, but to remind us that it mattered. The servants gather in the great hall. The maids, the footman, Mr. Carson, Mrs. Hughes. Each face carries the weight of memory and the light of gratitude. They share small smiles, quiet nods, and a few unshed tears. It's not a farewell born of sadness. It's one born of understanding. They've lived their part of the story well. Cut to the family descending the grand staircase. The scene feels almost dreamlike. Time slowing, sunlight glimmering through stained glass. Lady Mary, elegant and strong, walks beside her father. Edith follows, radiant in soft gold. Behind them, Tom holds his daughter's hand, their steps steady, hopeful. The world outside has changed, the narrator continues, but Downton, in its own way, has changed too. It has learned to breathe in a new century. The camera follows them as they move through the house, passing portraits of ancestors, polished banisters, and echoing halls that once held laughter and argument in equal measure. Each step feels like turning a page that has waited years to be read. In the drawing room, the Dowager Countess sits in her chair one last time. Her expression is serene, her presence timeless. She looks up as Mary enters. Their eyes meet, no words spoken, only understanding. The old world and the new one, greeting each other with quiet grace. "There will always be an England," she once said, "and perhaps there will always be a Downton too. Not of bricks and servants, but of spirit. Outside the gardens are alive again. Children's laughter, distant music, the flutter of life moving forward. It's not the end of something precious, but the continuation of something beautiful." The music rises, a soft orchestral theme, elegant and wistful. The camera moves through open doors and windows, gliding through the house like memory itself. We see echoes of the past. Matthew smiling, Sybil laughing, Violet's sharp wit cutting through dinner conversation. Their ghosts are not gone. They are simply resting in the walls, part of the legacy that endures. "Time never truly takes what we remember," the voice says gently. "It only teaches us how to hold it differently." The final montage begins. Mary standing on the balcony, the wind lifting her hair as she looks toward the horizon. Edith in her office, her pen resting on a finished page. Tom walking through the garden path, his daughter running ahead. Her laughter the sound of tomorrow. The camera pulls back, rising slowly above the abbey. The house grows smaller, yet grander, its silhouette caught in the golden light of dawn. The strings swell, tender and triumphant. Downton Abbey was never just a place. The camera opens on the countryside bathed in twilight. The sky is painted in gold and lavender, and the air feels heavy with peace. The grand house of Downton Abbey rests beneath it. Calm, proud, timeless. The world around it hums softly with life. Birds returning to the trees, the faint sound of laughter drifting from the servants' quarters, and somewhere, faint music playing on a gramophone that's nearly out of tune. "All stories," the narrator begins quietly, "must one day grow still, but some stories never truly stop. They linger, in the places, in the people, in the quiet that follows." We move through the empty halls once more. The light from the chandeliers reflects in the polished floors, casting long golden trails across the corridors. Each room feels like a memory caught in motion. The dining hall, where voices once rose in argument and laughter. The library, where secrets were whispered and forgiven. The drawing room, where goodbyes were softened by tea and trembling smiles. Downton was never built to last forever, yet somehow it did. Not in stone, but in spirit. The camera passes the family portraits one final time. Their eyes steady, their faces calm. The generations that came before seem to nod in approval, as if they understand that their story has found its rightful rest. Cut to the gardens. Edith's child runs along the path, her laughter echoing where silence used to live. Tom follows, smiling, his steps light. Lady Mary stands by the fountain, her gaze fixed on the horizon, the wind lifting the edge of her gown. For the first time, she looks not back, but forward. The house will stand. The world will move on, and those who loved it will carry its light with them. The music returns. The same melody from the opening, but slower, softer, filled with nostalgia. The gramophone spins for the last time, the record crackling like a whisper of history. The sun dips lower, its light washing over the stone walls until they glow as if alive. Inside, the Dowager Countess's chair sits empty by the window. The camera lingers, not in sadness, but in reverence. The light touches the fabric of the seat, the lace draped over the arm, the stillness that speaks louder than words. "Goodbye is only hard when something was truly worth keeping," the narrator says softly, and Downton was worth everything. A final montage unfolds. The servants locking the front doors with gentle care. The abbey bathed in moonlight, its reflection trembling in the fountain. A single candle burning in the upstairs window, flickering but never dying. The narrator's final words drift over the last image, calm and tender. When the lights go out and the music fades, some places keep on living, in memory, in time, and in every heart that still believes in grace. The music swells one final time, a soft crescendo of strings and piano. The candlelight fades, the gramophone stops, and silence returns. Not empty, but full of peace. Fade to black. Text on screen. For every ending that was loved, there will always be a beginning waiting in its shadow. Then the final title appears, shimmering against the dark. Downton Abbey. The grand finale. The Age of Noel Coward. The curtain falls, but the echo remains.